everyone! Welcome to Kids for Learning. Today we're going to read a book called As Big as the Sky by Carolyn Rose, illustrated by Elizabeth Zunon. So let's read. Can't catch me! Caleb yelled as he dashed out of sight. Priska never could catch him, but she loved the chase. She scrambled past huts and fields, her bare feet skimming over stones, and just as she cornered the fence, he leaped out and pounced. Ah! She screamed. He, he. Caleb laughed, his raucous laugh. Ow, ow, ow! Priska howled, her joyful howl. He was her feisty brother, and she was his spunky sister, and their love was as big as the sky. Life in the village was not all play. When Priska wobbled under her heavy bucket, Caleb would grab it, and with a splash and a chuckle, he'd carry it up the steep hill. When Caleb got sick with malaria, all sweaty and shaky, Priska would bring him sweet tea and simmer. Then she'd scold the mosquitoes to make him smile. Together they pounded corn and swept the yard. They washed the clothes and pulled the weeds. And Caleb would yell, "Can't catch me!" and off they'd run. With no good schools for Caleb in the village, it was time for him to move to Grandma's in Chimwe, and Priska cried, "Don't go!" With a tear in his eye, Caleb called out, "Don't forget me, Priska!" All through the dry season, Priska yearned for Caleb. There were no cars or buses in the village, and van rides to Chimwe cost 600 kwacha per passenger. Where would she ever get that much money? Sifting handfuls of dry corn through her fingers, she thought, "I could sell this for 600 kwacha. But then, what would Mama and I eat?" Priska didn't want to be hungry again, like 2 years earlier, when the crops dried up, and all she could think about was her growling stomach. One day, Tewa the peddler came by calling, "Manzuka Banji, Priska." His bike shimmered with pans and cups, balls and flags, and shiny trinkets of all kinds. "Good morning, Tewa," Priska cried, handing him a drink. "Zikamo Kwambiri, Priska. You're so kind." Priska ran her hand along the toys, jingling a bell, spinning a pinwheel, shaking a rattle. Then she stopped. Tewa, I need money to visit my brother. If I make something nice, will you sell it for me?" "Like what, Priska?" "I could paint rocks. Paint some, and we'll see." "I will," Priska cried. She ran to the place where she and Caleb had buried their hidden treasures of rocks. She cleaned them up, painted them brightly, and gave them to Tewa. The next day, when Tewa returned, Priska held out a handful of nuts, saying, "Oh, Tewa, you must be hungry. You're so generous, Priska." Then he handed back the stones. "I'm sorry, Priska. I couldn't sell any." "Well," said Priska, not ready to give up, "how about paper and bead necklaces?" "Make some and we'll see," said Tewa. "I will," Priska cried. "Here I come, Caleb." She found the shiny paper she and Caleb had saved for a special day. She cut it just right, rolled each piece tight, and strung all the paper beads together. The next day, when Tewa came, she held them up with delight. But later that day, he returned with the same necklaces. "I'm sorry, Priska, I couldn't sell any." "Well," said Priska, "how about corn husk dolls?" "Make some and we'll see," said Tewa. "I will! Ow, ow, oh!" Priska howled, her joyful howl. She gathered husks from the field and soaked them, soft just like Caleb had taught her. She folded and trimmed and added tassels of hair. While she worked, she imagined how happy Caleb would be to see her. He'd dance around her and laugh his raucous laugh. He. "Priska, they're lovely," Tewa exclaimed. She tied them all tall and proud to his handlebars. But that day it rained till the ground turned to floods of red mud. Priska called, "Terra, Terra, come here where it's dry." She handed him a cloth to wipe his face. "You're so caring, Priska," Terra said. And she reached for her doll, all splattered with mud, and it fell apart in her hand. "Yay! I'll never see Caleb." She ran through the rain, slipping through mud. Her ow, ow, ow joyful howl sounded more like a whimper. All through the rainy season, she carried water, washed clothes, ground corn and swept the yard, always thinking of Caleb. He'd be older and smarter, but their love would still be as big as the sky. And one day, Terra came by on a bicycle that was bare. "What happened?" cried Priska. "My bike needed fixing." She started his bike and then said, Terra, do you think you can take Mama and me to see Caleb?" "Me?" he exclaimed. "On this?" He paced back and forth, thinking. Then he said, "Priska, you give me water when I'm thirsty, food when I'm hungry, and shelter when I'm drenched. Now I'll do something for you. I'll take you and your Mama to see Caleb." Mama frowned. "Can we make it that far?" "We'll make it," Terra laughed. Priska howled with joy. "Ow, ow, ow!" They piled together on the bike that barely held them and sped down bumpy roads that made their teeth chatter. They wobbled past mud huts and trading tents, tipped and swerved around ox carts, dodged women balancing baskets, and children chasing chickens. They jiggled and bounced, stirred up the ground till they were sneezing and coughing and covered with dust. After hours of pedaling, Terra moaned, "Dapa, my legs can't pump no more." "Please, just a bit further," Priska cried. Finally, they spotted the brick dwelling of Chimwe, sprawled across the valley below. "Priska!" Caleb cried, racing towards her. They spun round and round till they were dizzy with delight, and together they tumbled to the ground. He, Caleb laughed, his raucous laugh. "Ow, ow, ow!" Priska howled her joyful howl. He was her feisty brother, and she was his spunky sister. Their love was still big as the sky. And it always would be. I hope you've enjoyed this story. Please like, share, and subscribe. Bye!